You spoke and your voices were heard. Seems that you can't get enough of top fight videos. Well, me neither. So now let's go over some more fights I consider noteworthy. 2019's behind us, but there's no problem with taking a look back at 10 more key anime fights that happened last year, now is there? Yep, a rev up and get ready for volume 2 of the top 10 fights in 2019. We open with a fight in war-torn Europe. This is the Yujo Senki movie's key battle, Tanya versus Mary. In many ways, you argue that Tanya and Mary are foils and alternative versions of each other. In fact, Mary's promotion was on the sole basis of her combat prowess and her ability to match Tanya. As such, it's fitting that the two perfect matches go head-to-head in combat, and that's exactly what the Yujo Senki movie delivered. The back-and-forth battle in the movie is a sight to remember. After Mary delivers a beatdown and seemingly finishes Tanya, the latter isn't quite dead and turns the tides on her nemesis. Mary may have the advantage in physical power and stats, but it's the one with the better tactics that wins out in the end of this pivotal confrontation. Rival team-ups are exciting, especially those of a rivalry with the same scale as Dazai and Chuya's. One of the key fights in the third season of Bungo Stray Dogs forces the two combustible elements to team up. Against them is Rando and his hyperspace ability, one which proves to be a tough nut to crack as it transcends the realm of ordinary abilities and material laws. Regardless, fans were excited to see one of the series' most popular antagonists team up with a key protagonist and a longtime nemesis. Their combination works really well too. Why is it in anime that the hero's best partner's his arch nemesis or biggest rival? The tense battle ends in style with the two sworn rivals holding hands and delivering a finishing move that wins the drawn-out fight for the tandem. Ensemble fights are fun, especially if they feature many heroes working together to take down a seemingly unbeatable foe. They're even more fun if the opening theme suddenly blasts midway through the fight, giving the good guys that power-up. And with that, I just described the hero's battle against the Pope Balmus in Rising of the Shield Hero. The four heroes and their companions find their way deep into the Church of the Three Heroes, and their showdown against the Master of Magic Pope's one hell of a payoff for all of that build-up. The sweet part of these fights is the characterization being shown. Our four heroes make a combustible element together, and when they are fighting together, I'd say that the way they fight's not bad at all. It's also nice to see Naofumi calling the shots and leading the team to victory after all that's happened in the past episodes. Hyakkimaru and Tahomaru's epic battle serves as the climax to Dororo. With only his eye and arms remaining, Hyakkimaru's quest to become whole is at its end, and who better to be his final opponent than his brother? The two already clashed, but it didn't have that big fight feel like this one did. They finally had their decisive duel inside the burning castle, and Hyakkimaru wins, but spares his brother. The Eye Demon takes matters in his own hands, but with Tahomaru's sacrifice, Hyakkimaru defeats the demon and finally becomes whole again. That's a nice way to end the whole thing. Alright? Also, don't tell me that you didn't feel sorry for Tahomaru at the end. He deserves a happy ending as much as everyone else. With that being said, this battle won't be the last sibling fight on this list. Zenitsu's magnum opus in the first season of Demon Slayer has to be this fight. Among his two moments of awesome in the series, this is often the more talked about one, and for good reason too. Surrounded by a horde of tiny spiders, Zenitsu powers them off by going Super Saiyan. Charging up and making a beeline for the demon, the yellow Demon Slayer dances through the moonlight as he makes a spectacle out of crushing the spider demon. It's worth noting that Zenitsu finished off his demon by himself, whereas both Tanjiro and Inosuke had trouble with theirs. While this may be the result after being assigned a weaker opponent, I'd like to think that this fight looks to build Zenitsu up to be that one big badass that you wouldn't want to underestimate just because of his temperament. This is barely a fight for the poor old spider demon. That's what you get for underestimating this Slayer. For the third ranked entry, we have a textbook example of how to build up a villain's credentials. After defeating elves possessing Klaus and Harmon, Asta and Yuno find themselves fighting Licht. In one swift motion, Licht not only closed the distance on the two of them, but also sent Asta flying in one fell swoop. Yuno lasted a bit longer, but even he couldn't find a way to overcome the elf who keeps reflecting attacks. The fight was short-lived, and both Asta and Yuno find themselves on the receiving end of a glorified squash match. The boys are just outmatched. Licht's an opponent way beyond their league, and it really does show in this fight. When they do get a rematch, let's hope our protagonists come more prepared. I think that they've got a long way to go. Things are kicked into high gear by Fire Force's 21st episode. The anticipated battle between Shinra and Sho finally happened, and it was amazing. The build-ups there, and the siblings quickly get on with a furious exchange. Ever wondered what a battle between two users of a Dola Burst would be like? Look no further. Kudos to David Production for being at the top of their game in animating this exciting fight. They nailed it, and I'd say this fight is right up there when we talk about peak Fire Force. Everyone's so caught up with Demon Slayer's 19th episode, but I think this fight deserves a lot of praise in its own right. Rarely do you see such movie-tier animation done in a seasonal anime unless you are Ufotable. That's largely why this is a fight that surpasses what we saw in the source material, and it's truly something to remember 2019 for, especially for Fire Force fans. Our number one fight in Volume 2 of the Top 10 2019 fights is Shimazaki versus everyone. Why does this one look so familiar? Yep, you're not seeing things. One of the best one-man army fights in anime makes its return as the top entry of another list. And it's never a bad time to once again lay witness to Shimazaki's moment in Mob Psycho Season 2. The arrogant Shimazaki provokes the former Scars into fighting him. While numbers would say that the odds are against him, no numerical odds are too big for a key villain to overcome. When